Welcome back, everybody. We're going into hour number 2 of Tales from the Loop. It's time to figure out relationships and then get this 80s action on the road. So each of you has on your character sheet in the book relationships to other kids. If you have played Apocalypse World or Dungeon World or Masks or any of the games like that, you'll be familiar with this step. This is where we figure out how the kids are related to one another in a direct way. And in this game, if you get in trouble because of your relationship to one of the other kids, you can get XP at the end of the game. So this is a self flag where you're like, I want this to be a problem, or I'm going to set a scene where this is trouble. The easiest way to do this is to just pick the list, pick from the list, fill in the names. Each of you will have potentially 3. But if you have one of your own that you want to come up with, you can go ahead and just drop that in there. Let's start with, and feel free to collaborate on these, suggest stuff too. So we'll do this relatively quick. Let's start with you, Marcus. Let's start with your character. What are your relationships? We know one of them, I think, already, right?
Carter.
Right. Obviously, relationship with Aisha, and even though we were separated, we did have years that we grew up and were twins, so we had that sort of, but like male female twins, so like friends but enemies, but didn't quite relate like maybe some same-sex twins might. In some areas, the bookworm, I'm the popular kid, right?
So how would you phrase that relationship? Like, is it a, we're twins and that's more important than anything else, or like, I don't know this person even though we're twins? Like, how does Carter see that?
No, he definitely sees it as like, well, family. But maybe I see it as like, well, we might be twins, but I'm still the older brother.
Right.
So
by 1 minute. By 1 minute.
All right. What are your other 2 relationships can be?
So specifically with the other NPC or the other,
these are relationships.
Because you're actually new at our school, right?
Yeah, these are relationships to the other kids.
Right. So for Colton, maybe I just kind of like, I had one of those first weeks in school, like literally didn't really know who to talk to. Obviously, not hanging out with Aisha's whole female friend group and everything.
What friends?
So, right. So
her friends are in the library on the shelves.
I think there was some sort of maybe like lonely run-in with Colton, and so
sure.
I was alone.
No, I got it.
What?
I got it.
What is it?
Okay, so remember, I'm faking all these letters from school. Like, I'm getting in trouble. I'm not paying attention. Right? I might even be sneaking things on occasion. What if we met like on the bench outside the principal's office, like after your fight? Right? With
I
Denny.
love it.
Something like that. So there's just this moment where it's like I'm looking at you and it's like I could not possibly have anything in common with this person, but here we are on this bench and you're looking at me. This is like the only time we could ever talk. Like, we can't be friends at school at all, right? That's not how this works.
So maybe there's a conversation where we're on this bench and I'm just like, God, Dennis is such a dickweed. And maybe you're like, I might be able to help you with that problem.
Yes, agreed. Right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we are of one mind.
And that's kind of how we met.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So the relationship here is that like Colton helps me with my problems.
Yeah, maybe. Or I find out that Colton might be able to help me with my problem because of.
Yeah. I mean, you're establishing a relationship. So when something goes wrong, you think you can go to Colton and he can make it disappear with his computer magic.
Well, exactly. And because you can talk to me about these problems, because in order to be like the popular person, which, as implied by Adam before, is really a construct. These people are as miserable as anyone else.
Right.
But what you can't actually have any problems publicly.
Right.
Yeah. This provides a steam valve for you to have problems and get them managed.
Yeah. I dig it.
Okay. So I'll add that to mine. We're basically secret friends. Do you remember this shit?
Yeah, sure do.
God, I am just sweating on the inside thinking about these secret friends.
That shit was a lot.
Oh, it's fucking work.
And then I would say that my relationship with Harvest actually also stems from the fight because Dennis
This fight was a big deal. You landed in this, you landed in this town like a meteor.
I kicked the bee's nest, right, by doing this. But maybe because there might be some like Dennis likes Quinn, maybe Harvest, like Dennis is like, and stay away from my girlfriend, you know? So I'm like, I don't even know who that is. And I actually go like seek out.
I think we're friends. Totally. That's how you know her, because you don't know her name, but like we hang out. So like once the connection is made, like, oh shit, I'm gonna be around her all the time because she's like my sister's friend.
Right. And also I think I realize that like I don't like that Dennis has a thing for me. And a really good way to get under his skin is to like flirt with you publicly and like shoot you looks and just be like, I'm looking at him.
That's gonna be so conflict because I'm gonna get irritated at you for flirting with my brother.
Perfect.
I'm excited.
Such teenage drama.
Okay, so you, Aaron, you have one. How would you phrase your relationship with your sibling, as your relationship?
It's definitely one of those relationships where I came from an outside perspective. So not only is he my big brother, even though we're twins, right? But big brother in the sense that like our personalities are so different. He's the popular kid. I'm not. So there's this awkward kind of third wheel thing existing between the relationship between dad and him, and then there's me that's on the outside, and I just don't fit in, and it's kind of annoying. Like in one way, I it's very endearing, and I want to be like my brother because I want to be the cool twins, right? Like how awesome would it be if we were like the power twins? And we, like,
right, because you read so many books about cool twins.
Right, I've read so many the twins of legend and like all this shit. Like I want to be that, but that's just not me.
Right. So your relationship, your relationship with Carter is, I want it to be like it is in the books.
Right.
But it's not. Okay.
But it's not. I just don't know how
You're trying to force it. You're trying to make it happen.
I don't think I have the confidence to make it happen because I feel like I'm in comparison will never live up to that, and I can't. So.
Okay, cool. And then what are your other two relationships with the other kids?
With Quinn, I feel like going back to the orienteering thing where we got trapped in the woods, I feel like that was a team. That was like a team effort. Yeah. And it's like the solid bonding moment that we have. But nice. I also feel like we're the kind of friends who like, we're not girls that are going to sit there and gossip about boys. And like,
is everybody in the group the same age? Are you all 13?
I'm 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm 1 year above, which I think I use a little bit to not tease, but like I want to be like a big sister to everybody. Because again, I idolize my mom, who is like in my own weird way, like, oh, I want to be the older woman in someone's life who's like protecting them and making them understand what the world is really like. And part of that, I think our first real conversation was you were listening to Magic Dance over and over again. And I was like, this is the wrong David Bowie song about dancing. You should be listening to Let's Dance, a real David Bowie song about dancing. And like introduced you to the... It's fine, but he's been making music since as long as we've been alive. You should listen to other things. And like, I think it was probably tense at first, and then like when we got lost in the woods, that was the time that we actually like, okay, this is kind of scary, but we're gonna get out of here. And that's when we finally got over my like elitist music bullshit, and we just kind of like we're more like each other than we thought we were. You know?
Yeah.
Dude, you know what would be fucking crazy? Like these are not either of my characters, and so this is you can throw this in the garbage if you want to, but. In the movie, this would have been one of those times where, like, you would basically sing each line off each other, and it would be like you would make there is like a deeper song that
between the two songs.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
God. I'm sure that mashup exists, but I'm
sure.
Yeah.
You're the little guy.
I'm like because these movies have to have that kid, like the
kid.
Even the kid who is a kid, even to other kids, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Okay, Aisha, so we've got one for your brother, and one for Harvest. What's your other relationship?
Well, because my brother because Carter just came into town, he doesn't have like existing relationships, and I feel like the way that Chip and I are related is he was always the little kid that like in the neighborhood that tagged along. So he's always been around, and it's just the like, you know, you assume friends sometimes where like there's no connection, we don't have anything in common. We don't have any like memories. We just are around all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what it is. Like ever since we were little kids, he was just a little kid, little one.
Chip is like your surrogate little brother in that like you're old enough to babysit him now, and you're probably like next door neighbors or in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I think that because what happens a lot, like my son is a spectrum kid, and what invariably happens is that your mom is always pushing you into social situations that you don't necessarily, that you don't want to be in and aren't interested in and don't have the tools to fully parse, and that's not something you want to be a part of your life. So I think that I get pushed out into your life and into the lives of the people in the neighborhood, like by mom, basically.
Yeah. And like your parents are just like, Aisha, just take him.
So
exactly.
So Colton, is that your first relationship is with Aisha?
Yeah, Aisha is the relationship that we have there, and then but remember, Carter and I are secret friends.
Okay.
Can't be friends at school, but I can solve certain types of problems for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Now,
So you got Carter.
We got to get dialed in.
I have a good idea. I have 3 words for you, Jerry. Colossal Cave Adventure.
Oh.
I'm stuck in the city and I want to go off and explore, and you, like, ever since you've been a little kid, have done your own exploring through text adventures, through all of these like wonderful worlds. And like I don't know, like if you read an excerpt from Colossal Cave Adventure, it's just like you are standing at the end of a road before a small brick building. Around you is a forest. A small stream flows out of the building and down a gully. And like you're telling me your Colossal Cave Adventures. I'm like, this kid's making shit up. And then like you're like, no, like come over one day and we'll go on an adventure together. And like I think I signed up to be your babysitter, but really you're like showing me the digital world.
Dude, I think that happens too. But I think that Chip has memorized it.
Right. Shit. You're action castling this shit.
Yeah.
I think that like you could say go north to me and I would tell you the next
my
part.
God, we just play this game.
Yeah.
This is so good. Yes, absolutely.
It's totally
that
action
out of
castle.
Control. So basically I am like your 80s game console.
Yeah, you're the text parser.
Well, basically I'm like
also
in a couple years I'll be a DM, right?
Right, totally. Like have you had that happen yet where you've lied to me about what's to the north because you have an idea that's better than what was in the game?
Yeah, that's where it starts, right? Basically like my game master thing is basically a mod of CCA.
It's so good. Everyone should read Wolf and White Van, by the way, which like deals with this a little bit. It's a really good book by John Darnielle. That's all I'll say.
Oh man, dude, this crew, I can't wait to see what they get up to.
I'm stoked.
Harvest, let's do yours and then we can.
Then the remaining ones. I mean, at this point, I think we have BFFs with Aisha based on our mutual love of David Bowie, and then also our getting lost in the woods together. And then, like I set up with Carter previously, I'm kind of using him as an object of affection. It starts as an object of affection, as a way to get under Dennis's skin. But I've never closed the gap. I've always kept that distance. It's always like
it's performative.
It's performative. It's signals of affection. And I think he's an all right guy. Like whatever. Like I'm busy.
Yeah.
We got David Bowie albums to listen to.
Exactly.
The only other one to go on.
There's one NPC thing that I have written down, which is my father, Sheriff Clark Quinn, who I just wanted to be on the sheet as an adult in my life because he's an important adult in my life, but he's not my anchor. So I just wanted to make sure his name was down somewhere.
Yes, I've got him on the list. I've been making lots of notes. Cool. All right. So we know kind of the dynamics of the group. We know the characters. We could flesh out more NPCs, but I think we have a pretty good little town to begin with. We just need to understand now your hideout. So mechanically, and this is a thing that I think is so cool. It's just like nestled away in the rules here, but the game master may not allow NPCs to find the hideouts unless the kids show it to them. Like I'm just not allowed. I can't. It just can't be like, cool.
It's
your mom shows up.
It's like a prime law.
Yeah,
right.
Like I can't. It's inviolable. I'm not allowed.
It.
Yeah. So you can go to your hideout. It's somewhere you can be alone and safe. You as a group can determine this. I have nothing to do with this. You figure out what it is, and then you can go to the hideout to heal your conditions in the same way as going to an anchor. But it requires that 2 or more kids are present, are physically or mentally close to each other. For example, telling secrets or stories, comforting one another, etc. I can't put you in trouble in the hideout, but you can. You can be like, yeah, I go to the hideout all by myself, and that's when, and you can like set that up.
Nice.
But I can't just be like, yeah, bad guys show up.
I would love to throw out a suggestion from my own childhood, if
Please.
so. Living maybe in a town where there would be like bubbles of development, but then they would stop down.
Yeah.
There were like
concentric rings.
Yeah. There were a lot of times these these model homes that would just like stay dormant for forever. And like as a kid, I always thought it was so cool to be like, I'm like in my own home fort here.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to suggest the housing development behind us, like development stop. There's like these 2 model homes.
I'm gonna straight up rip the name from a real place near where I grew up. The model home is in a part of a new development called Magic Estates.
Perfect.
And everything in Magic, all the streets in Magic Estates have like really corny fantasy names, which probably Aisha's all about, like Pendragon Avenue and what have you. I legit have a sign that I promise you I came by totally legal means for Wizard Court. So
No, but dude, Magic Estates would be the name of the movie.
Oh yeah,
totally.
Ooh.
I love it.
There you
Well,
go.
like, maybe it's not even like shut down all the way. It's held up in a legal battle, which means like it's still wired.
Exactly.
It still has water and electricity and heat. And whenever anybody comes to like buy the seat to like, why are we getting electrical bills here? They just can't find us, and we managed to hide all our stuff.
It does have power.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's just held up in a legal battle. Totally.
I think so too. Like flushing toilets, like it's working.
Yeah.
Legit
yeah.
house.
So
And it's staged, right? It's like fully staged, like a demo home where there's like couches and there's TV. Like it's an actual full house.
So how do you get in and out? Because I imagine you don't have the keys because nobody's parents.
Basement slider window.
Yep, exactly. One of those little storm windows. Just get in through there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like even a little room that no one goes into in the basement.
What's great about this is that your hideout, I think, as a metaphor for your childhood, has like a limited amount of time on it because there's no way they're going to leave it open during the winter. They're going to have to come and like weather seal that stuff.
And we're
all can sell any day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Like I think it's gonna, in the next year, Chip's the only one who can go in and unlock the door for us because we literally can't fit through those piece of windows anymore.
I like it. You're literally growing out of your hideout.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Cool.
He's got his multi-tool. He's gonna learn how to pick the locks eventually.
Yes.
So we start, now that we have the hideout, we have everybody's relationships and stuff established. We start the game by having each of you set a scene to help us kind of intro your characters. So this would be like, we get the establishing shot of Thunder Bay, and then we fade to one or more kids in a scene together. So each of you will get a turn to have a scene where your character is the focus. And then I'll set a scene that starts off our mystery, that introduces the mystery, and then we'll spend the rest of the game solving that mystery and living our daily lives. So who's the character that we see first when this movie, this imaginary 80s movie we're creating, begins? And where are they?
Here. So I have, listen. Okay, God, it's gonna be like this all fucking day. So, what if this little set of vignettes is how each of us gets out of our house to go to the hideout?
Yeah.
That sounds
totally
great. That sounds
right.
super great.
I mean, that seems like the good one to me.
Oh, perfect.
So go ahead. You go first.
I got it. I'm going to start. So imagine actually like a stage is like a track meet or something like that, and it's just like what the hell, and like Carter gets up and he's on the starting block, and he like high fives a buddy that's next to him, and then all of a sudden like runners ready, there's a starting gun and there's a race, and I cross the finish line, and like as I'm sort of celebrating, camera pulls back and I'm like watching a VHS tape. and I'm like sort of like reliving the glory year that was earlier in the first semester at my old school, and like I just kind of like hit the eject button and push back from my chair and just like I'm going to the hideout, like right there's just sort of this, I don't got time for this.
So does your your dad is trying to manage two kids, do you just walk out? Is like, because you're supposed to be home. You're not supposed to be just like wandering the neighborhood. But is your dad distracted?
Yeah, I do. And maybe dad's like, Carter, where are you going? And maybe like, my 13-year-old self, like, I don't know, Dad, thought maybe I should find some friends in this new town that you put me in.
Right. And so your dad looks. Oh, this is perfect. So we see your dad. He's in the kitchen, and he's at the kitchen table, and he's just brought home some groceries or whatever, and they're lying on the table. There's a bag of milk that hasn't made its way into the fridge, and he's holding in his hands, looking somewhere between quizzical and embarrassed, a box of tampons.
Oh no.
So he's holding it, and he like looks at you. And that's when, and he's like, where are you going? And you're like, I don't know, I'm gonna go make some friends. And he looks back at it and then looks at you and he's like, okay, Carter. Hey, take your sister with you. And then like it goes back to
I won't have to have this conversation.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Turning the box over and just being like, oh, what have I gotten myself into?
So as they close the door, there's like a pop sound. We get a picture of me looking bored, looking out the window, like popping a bubble. And I am in I'm in my mom's car. My mom is driving me back to Thunder Bay to drop me off with my dad, and I've lied to her. Despite her being my anchor, what I've told her is, Dad, I've been telling her this all weekend for the whole visit. I was like, oh, Dad wants you to drop me off at Angela's Pizza so I can pick up a pie and bring it home. And I'm not bringing it home. I am bringing it to the Magic Estates.
I like this.
And she's like very tentative about it. But then when I get out of the car, I give her a hug and a kiss, and I call my dad and say, oh, Mom's car, there was a tire popped. It's going to be another couple hours before I get home, Dad.
So we cut. Yeah. So she drops you off. We don't see it, and then the car pulls away, and you're standing in a payphone.
That's exactly it.
Yes. And the pizza is like on top of the.
Yeah, exactly. And then like put it under my shoulder, like very, very like non-feminine, like very like I don't give a fuck what you think about the way I'm standing, and then like silhouetted exactly, and then walk off towards Magic Estates, popping my bubble.
Nice. Okay. Cool. So you have to like lie to your parents to get away.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
They're monitoring you pretty closely, but the Duran dad is a little overwhelmed, and so has made some space there for you to skip away. Let's see what our neighbor, the little Pringle. What's your deal? How do you get away to the?
My deal is that, I tell my mom, I say, well, you remember the project for the science fair that I was working on with Tommy? Well, that's due next week. I told him that I would be able to go over there tonight and work on it. And she has been asking for a long time for me to tell her mom, or to tell Tommy's mom, that they should come over for dinner and meet our family, but that will be very difficult because there has never been a Tommy. But they are so excited. She and my father are so excited about the prospect that I have organically generated a friendship that based around shared interest. That there's
with someone your age too,
yeah,
someone
exactly.
in your class.
There's literally nothing I can't get away with as long as it's with Tommy. So I am right out the door. Keyboard, wrapped up the cable around it in the backpack, straight on, over one shoulder, straight down the street, take a left, take a right. There's the gates of the Magic Estates. And that should be the first time we see the sign, right?
Yeah. Well, can we get that shot of you with like the sign that says Magic Estates? And then it's like a little misty and foggy, and in the distance there is whatever factory or plant is tied to the Japanese corporation that the Duran father works at.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the iron in Fooly Cooley, right? It's just like this massive structure that has like all like green lights in the fog in the distance that towers over the city, and is like so far away but also so close.
Yeah, exactly. It basically comes. It's like it shows the Magic Estates, and then like in the fog, like the lights come on.
Right, exactly.
Right. Oh, I love it.
Right, you even get like the street lights start to blink on because it's 6 p.m. right, and then boom, there it is.
Awesome. So what's your Aisha? What's your scene? We didn't see you in the Duran household. What's your kind of like? How do you get away?
Yeah.
And from what?
So I feel like the first kind of shot is me sitting in this dark room, like under a blanket with like a flashlight reading a book,
Yes.
right?
That's what
Where
I'm
like
talking
it's
about.
me. Yeah. So it's like me reading, it looks like a book, and then you kind of zoom in and you see it, and it's actually a photo album, and it's pictures of like me and my mom. And I looked down at my watch, and it's time. Me and Quinn have like prearranged that we knew this pizza meetup was happening.
Yes.
So I've been kind of killing time until then. I look down and see my watch. And I pull the blanket away, and I'm in an empty room that's kind of dusty, and it's got boxes. So our dad is distracted. He's worrying about tampons and groceries and stuff he has like never had to worry about before.
Yeah.
And he doesn't notice that I sneak out occasionally, and I go back to my mom's house, which is under like a state because she's died and nothing's happened.
No.
So I sneak back into the house, and like when I am sad or upset, like this is my hangout, this is my comfort space, and I just want to be around my mom again. So I'm kind of in her old bedroom with like a blanket. There's like some books kind of piled up, and like this is my secret clubhouse that is not a group thing. Like my brother doesn't know I go there. Nobody knows I go there, but this is my place. So I kind of pull the covers away. I look at the time. I grab my backpack, throw my photo album and my book in there, and I crawl out the window, shut it, and then run over and kind of catch up behind Chip as he's running up to the Magic Estate sign and kind of flag him down, and then
Nice.
walk up together.
Cool.
All
All right.
You can go home again.
Yeah. So I love that as the scene, right? Is that the group of you all kind of like arriving under this glowing Magic Estate sign, and because it's Tales from the Loop, right? That there is this vaguely kind of like futury like vibe to it. The big buildings in the background can be overscaled and kind of sci-fi looking. It's a little bit like Half-Life 2 kind of architecture.
City 17
in the background. Yeah. Yeah, cool. So the scene sort of like fades there, and I think we cut to like the after the hangout scene. This is the like we know you all skip away and stuff, and you're leaving what's the protocol for leaving your hangout? How do you like set the traps as you go home?
Is it one at a time?
Right. Yeah, that's my question, right? It's like, do you have a protocol that you have to remember to make sure you don't get caught?
I feel like one of us sneaks out, like it has to be probably Chip first, sneaks out through that basement storm window, make sure that the coast is clear, and then it's got to be Carter that's the last one because he's the tallest and the biggest to push us all out, and then he can climb up and then lock the window behind us.
Love it.
What do we do with like our trash?
We take it.
Okay, we take
pack in, pack out. I mean, it's like a tent.
Yeah, it's literally we all show up with like basically a duffel bag that is like the stuff that we used for our hangout. Like someone brings a card table, someone brings like a little like 10-inch TV or like a little like boombox or whatever for us to listen to music. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah. So we see you all climbing out the window and getting ready. And because this area is still under development, you're in a neighborhood that's sort of semi-finished, right? We can see there are mud tracks from the trucks that bring in material to build the houses that are coming up around the little model home that you're staying in. But it's all kind of been delayed. And I think we see the shot pans up to this big like promotional sign showing what Magic Estates will look like in the distant future, and it's all these like flying cars and like it looks beautiful, but it's got a huge red sign that says like development delayed on it. And as you're stepping out, one of you, you can tell me who it is. One of you discovers something amiss. Who's like the most on guard or on alert?
Yeah, on point. Like who is the one out of us that is conscious, that isn't completely turned inside, right?
Right. Well, it's all of us to some degree.
Yeah.
I think Quinn would, right? Like this is one of the things that she idolizes about her mother is like being aware of the natural world, looking at things. I'm constantly like looking for birds just so I can tell my mom on the phone that I saw red-breasted robin or whatever, you know.
So amid the mud tire tracks, and the things that you see every time that you come and go from here, because there's not a lot of foot traffic. But amid all of that, maybe looking for footprints to make sure you haven't left a trace, you see a thin like pink leather like band with a buckle on one end and some kind of like tag on it, and you see it just like lying in the mud.
Pet tag.
Yeah.
I like lean down and pick. I don't say anything yet. I kind of like fall back from the group. Or I guess actually, do we break out? Do we go in different directions? Or do we leave together? Is it one of those things like we can't bear to separate from each other quite yet?
I think we separate. I think that anytime we're inside, we're together. Anytime we're inside the estates, and then soon, like once we pass that threshold, it's like that magic of youth. Like once we pass that threshold, then we're 4 separate people.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the liminal space in which we slowly become. So I stop and like hold back from everybody and lean down and pick up whatever the tag is and look closely at it. Does it say anything? Are there any marks on it?
Yeah. So it's got a little heart-shaped, stamped, pet shop tag, and it just says "shoo-shoo" on it, which you may or may not be familiar with. I think maybe we flash to a remembrance scene of like there was a time where Denis was like being picked up by or something by his mom. There's a scene with like Denis and his mom, and her dog Shoo-shoo, which is like a little like poodle that she like carries around. Where were you in that scene? Why do you remember this?
I think he was hitting on me. I was waiting for my dad to pick me up, and he's always late. And the Denny wouldn't get back into her car, and so the dog was just like yapping at me over and over and over and over
like
out
the
the window.
paws up on the window.
Exactly. And his mom was like, "Shoo-shoo, be quiet. Shoo-shoo, be quiet. Shoo-shoo, Denny, get in here. Denny." And shoo-shoo, and it was just like, oh my god, this moment is just the fucking worst.
You just praying to get picked up.
Exactly.
Like, I can't escape. I can't leave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my memory of it.
You remember that, and this is the and it looks like when you pick it up, there's a bit of the leather still in the buckle, like it wasn't unbuckled and fell off, like it's broken. And
like snapped.
Yeah,
okay.
like torn in the way that like a piece of leather pulled, like a loop pulled, would break. The buckle is a bit twisted and bent.
A loop, you say?
I just say
you find this lying in the mud.
Carter, you didn't let Denny follow you, did you?
No. Of course not.
I like flick the Shoo-shoo's name tag at him. Explain this.
You don't recognize the name of this dog. It's like a dog collar. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have bylaws, Carter.
What? I followed all the it was the same thing as it was last week and the week before and the day before that. I followed everything. I swear no one followed me. No one knows.
We would have heard that dog too because it never shuts up.
That's true.
Quinn, do you trust that your friend Carter follows the same stealth protocols as the rest of the group, or do you want to take a look around and prove it?
Yeah, I think I do want him to prove it. I'm like, all right, walk me through how you got here today, Carter, because I know what I did. You tell me what you did.
Okay, so Quinn, why don't we have you make a roll? So the active person here is Carter. Carter is like, look, okay, and then I did. Like, I assume you're walking through. How actually you tell me how put upon are you by this request, or has this happened before?
Me.
Yeah.
No, I think like I'm kind of annoyed by it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because I actually also believe like I actually did. It's like that kid that you think he took a cookie, but it was actually dad, and you're like, no, I know you did. He's like, no, I swear to God, it was dad. It was like that's kind of how I feel right now. It's like I did everything.
But you'll do it. Will you show me the steps that you took?
If you really want to go all the way back to my house, recreate me getting up from the desk, walking downstairs, talking to my dad, going outside, following the route that we always take, and ending up at Magic? Sure.
I've never heard anyone make 8 minutes sound like an hour before. Let's do it. As a note, also briefly, because we haven't rolled yet, I pulled 1 out of Empathize and put it into Charm because of a lie I told and realized I didn't have any points in lying. So I wanted to even that out.
Okay. Well, let's have you make a roll for Quinn there. Do an investigate roll.
So I'll do the investigate?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're investigating.
Boom.
Whoa, hella
successes.
successes. So you got three successes. So not only do you clear up the protocol, right? You get what you wanted, but you can spend those other 2 successes on more stuff. I'll tell you what's going on, and then if you want to, I think the way this one works is you can ask me questions.
Okay.
But we'll double check. So here we go. So it's the ability to find hidden objects, understand clues, or survey a place or situation. You get to ask 2 of these questions on a success, and you get 1 additional question for a bonus effect, and an additional die on another roll.
Wow. Okay.
So
cool.
yeah, so it lets you get +1 die on a roll when you use that information with your bonus effect. So. Gotcha. You take a walk around the house first, looking for. I guess are you all within walking distance of Magic Estates? Is this a next door neighbor kind of neighborhood, or is this you ride your bike?
I think it's close.
Yeah,
I think it's close. I feel like we maybe are in different other recent complexes, but not the same one necessarily.
No, like Austin, it's like the last round.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The boom happened. A lot of these came when the new factory came, when the new company moved in, and all these workers moved here. But then something happened, and it's kind of like has slowed up over the last 2 years.
I think that Magic Estates was basically like that investment. They're like, no, the boom's still real. This is going to be a great investment, right?
Yep.
Well, that's the you see the local TV station commercials that are like magic is still real
exactly.
Yeah, it's this very they had the real estate agent dress up like a knight and like
no,
it's so bad.
Okay, so you look around and while it does corroborate what you see corroborates that what Carter said. Nobody followed him here. There is, however, around the back of the house, where I think that this part of Magic Estate's big appeal is that it abuts this big sort of pine forest that eventually will also get developed. But for right now, it's like come live in the majesty of nature at Magic Estates. The forest separates you from the like Nakatomi industrial concern that has sprung up in the distance. But you see around the back where the yard is that the little fence that they've put up, the show fence, is broken in the back. The sod seems like torn up, and there's an obvious trail from the side of the house through this broken hole in the fence and then down into the woods.
Is Denis one of these motherfuckers that has like a dirt bike?
Probably.
I mean, yes.
His dad bought him one, I think.
Yeah.
So I get 2 additional questions from this list.
Yeah, so you can ask me questions from the list.
All right. I want to know what is hidden here and where is it?
Okay. All right. So as you're looking around in the yard, you notice that whatever caused this hole, whatever traipsed through the yard, dug up the sod, and then went out into the woods, it was dropping things as it went. You find the first thing that you found was the dog collar, and then you find a crushed styrofoam cup, like a red styrofoam cup, and then you find a handful of powdered sugar covered dough that looks like it's been like crushed.
Like a donut hole?
Like a bunch of donuts that someone had grabbed a handful of donuts and was like mashing them into their face and then dropped them here. So you find some like donuts discarded. And then you reach the edge of the cliff, and at a glance you wouldn't have noticed these things, but there seems to be a trail of dropped objects. And I think that you have this cup, and it's squeezed, but you can make out the unmistakable red logo of the Tim Hortons on it.
Of course. Yeah. And then the last thing is, what threats can I perceive here?
Something standing at the edge of the broken fence.
Yeah.
You feel a sense of not revulsion, but fear, right? We see you. The camera pans up over your shoulder and looks down over you, and you can see that there is like bushes and foliage that has been forcibly like knocked aside, and a clear path that leads down into the darkness under the pines. Especially now because you're leaving your hideout. It is starting to get dark.
I just want a shot of me like dropping the Tim Hortons cup and taking out my compact and just like figuring out what direction I'm facing. It's just like it doesn't matter if it's east or south or north or whatever, but I want that shot, and then the shot of like opening the compact and getting the mirror where I see my friends behind me and like stealing myself, closing it, turning around.
So when I mean, that's the transition, right? Is we see you look at the compact, and we get the focal change where it focuses on the spinning needle of the compass, and then a slight depth of field shift to the mirror. And in the mirror, we see behind you, Aisha and Chip and Carter. What are the three of you doing? Quinn has gone. Carter, you've been abandoned, right? It's obvious that you're not the problem here. I guess I'm curious for Aisha's response to this, because Aisha, maybe you're starting to feel that like, ooh, wilderness adventure time. What are you doing when we see you in the background?
I feel like the second that I see her take the compass out, this is adventure time. Like, this is the thing that I know that her. Yeah, this is the thing that I know her and I have no fear. There's nothing. We've gone in, we've got lost, we've made it out before. So I start kind of taking my satchel backpack off, and I have my flashlight in there from just having looked at the books and the covers from where I was before. So I go in, grab the flashlight out, and I walk over to join her and say, like, let's do this. Like, I'm ready. You want to go? Figure out. Let's go see.
Aisha, I want to ask you particularly, but everybody can chime in. What superstitions about the woods do you have? Right? What keeps you from exploring them too much?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I would just say that the superstitions are all mental based, right? I've read so many books about dragons and monsters and everything else, but in the books, the heroes always overcome them. And having had this experience of being out there in the woods, specifically with Quinn, and finding our way back out, there's almost this false sense of security and no danger, because I'm a hero, right? I'm gonna be a hero. She can be a hero. We can be heroes. And then we're gonna make it out. It's gonna be fine.
It's right there in the title.
Yeah.
For me, it's people. It's businesses, right? The Mulrooney government has made new deals with big business and has begun. And I've heard this from my mom, right? Like, they're taking over the wildlife reserves. All of the woods are that used to be protected are being sold.
Oh, they're signed over.
Yeah, and we don't know who's buying them. Like, that's like a thing my mom is interested in, has always been interested in, has been like, who bought the deed to the forest just outside of Thunder Bay? Because that used to be a reserve and now it isn't. And no one can figure out who owns that space anymore. Or it's a bunch of companies that bought a bunch of shell companies.
Oh, God. And there's probably a bunch of vaguely racist stories about like, oh, don't go down there, that's the reserve, like, it's
exactly.
Yep.
And but those stories are spread by the people who fucking bought the land, right?
Totally.
Like, we're like, stay away, we're building things back here in the woods. So those are it's like people in suits and hazmat suits and stuff like that are like the nightmare images for me.
Oh, weird. So your fear of the woods is that they will cease to be woods.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. It's like another fucking development.
Right. My fear is that there's literally no outlets.
Right.
Like,
fair.
Everything I have, especially at 10, everything I have mastery over is in the realm that Quinn fears. Like, that is where I am a sorcerer in that place.
Right.
And then when I go out to this natural environment, I have no claws, right? So, but I already have like a sinking feeling. As soon as I see the compact come out, I know that's the first step, but I know that we can avoid the next step so long as Aisha does not produce a flashlight.
I did it.
And now that Aisha has produced a flashlight, I feel compelled to
I love this.
I feel compelled to say, I have to be back in 1 hour.
What I love about this is, like, you know it the way you would know a game walkthrough. Like, okay, first the compact comes out, second then you need the flashlight. That's how you activate that quest line.
Exactly, but then it's like I hear like the chunk of the roller coaster car going up, and I know that we're gonna crest that hill, and it's just like I'm in for the ride, but I want to place the track, and that track is that we have an hour of time.
Now, is that something that the rest of the group will capitulate to, or is there going to need to be some convincing here?
I think it's never actually been an hour, and it's mostly nominal. It's never been 1 hour. It's never happened.
Carter just says, is like, come on, Chip, don't worry about it. I'll make sure you're back when you need to be back. And sort of that, like, yeah, I don't even wear a watch, but I was just gonna
say, it's like, do you have a watch?
Well, Aisha has a watch, so it's fine. We'll make sure. You've got a watch. Certainly, Chip,
he turns to Aisha and he says, "Is your watch wound?"
It's digital. It has a calculator on it.
When did you last replace the battery?
I mean, Chip, you're going to get stuck with us anyway. Just come on. I'll take you home when we're done. It's fine.
We're only
Stop
going to
worrying.
have
Okay, well,
20 minutes if we don't go in now.
I take the backpack off and I put it and I wear it in that backwards way that kids sometimes wear the backpack so that I can physically hold the keyboard inside the backpack. And that is my body language.
I'd like to get you to roll. Let's have you roll to see if you can resist being scared. I think this is a frightening situation. These older kids are trying to convince you to go to a place, and you know it's not going to be an hour, and they're not giving you the answers. If they had just given you the data you needed, maybe you'd be okay. But yeah, let's have you roll.
Which of these new skills?
I think in this case it might just be. If you can justify the use of a skill, that's cool. Otherwise, I think it would just be a heart roll.
Okay.
Is there any way to aid people in the system?
Yeah. Could I roll?
I mean,
like,
I think
you do that big
charm
sister
or-
shit.
I think here's the thing. Normally, I think you would be helping, but I think you're the ones causing the pressure here.
Well,
so
I haven't said anything about whether we should go or not
true.
yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, here, I'll try.
Yeah.
Let's use their skills to fix the problem that's about to happen. Right? Here we go.
Hey, there you go. You got a success. So you're able to. So whatever anyone else says, you are able to gird your loins. You stick your courage, and you're ready to go. But I want to know what do you say when you see this? There's this moment of hesitation. Carter and Aisha are let's go. We're running out of time. It's going to get dark.
Yeah.
When we see Quinn, what do you say to help Colton?
I think the first thing is just eye contact, and then I say east, east, north, east. And that's a location we both know is like things can go bad. And I'm not coddling you. I'm saying I've gone this way before, and it's always been exciting when we start down that path, and then I always lose.
Exactly.
But it's the honesty that I'm giving you that, and then I step forward despite that.
Exactly. But it might even be a situation in the movie version where whenever you say a direction like that in that specific sort of monotone way, you see how it's parsed.
Yeah.
You can actually see how Colton parses it piece by piece.
It's like subtitles written in the sky.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Yeah, the overlay of the dot matrix printed like.
No, exactly. The very last line is "You stand before the mausoleum."
Yes.
Yeah.
But I understand it. I got my success, but I understand it. It's okay.
Right.
I feel like this security blanket thing is a subtle thing that he has done before, and since we've been around him enough to see what this means, that this is like a security, I'm gonna do it, but I'm not fully trusting the situation. I feel like my gut, because he's the little one of the group, is like pull out a little packet of like shark bite fruit snacks and like hand him some and be like, it'll be fine. Like we'll get home on time. There's nothing scary out here. I have a flashlight. We have a watch. Like, we'll be okay. And just, here's some fruit snacks.
No, this is how it goes. Because I'm not going to let go of the backpack, but you're going to hold the fruit snacks out, and I'll open my mouth. And then you can put the snacks, and then I just close my mouth. I just bite the bag. And that's how I'm just going to hold them there in the mouth.
Yeah.
And then we can go in, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I think we see the group of you descending down this slope into the woods, into the dark below the pines, and who's leading this expedition? Who's the motivator? Like we know. I think that Aisha and Quinn have the expertise, but I'm wondering if Carter is just like, let me lead.
No, I think Carter's more like there's nothing to be scared of because I've never gone on one of these with you guys before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I'm trying to be the tough guy, older brother in a way, but I'm not necessarily like I think it's more cute right now.
Mm-hmm.
right?
They're walking in the woods.
They were doing
Right.
this. Yeah. So, but I'm not trying to like take over the situation or anything.
Did you have any woods experience before in the old town? Were you like a scout or anything like that?
You grew up in Toronto. You've probably never seen a tree in your life.
Yeah. Not at all. No.
Okay.
No.
What do you do when like the first bug lands on you? You just swat it off, or you like fuck this place? Fuck
No,
it.
I mean that doesn't bother me either.
Okay.
I'm still a 13-year-old kid, you know.
Good.
Okay.
Good. So yeah, I guess it's probably. I guess it's
like Wind Chill.
me and Aisha. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, because Aisha has the flashlight, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
it has
so
to
I
be
think
us.
Aisha is at least to the camera, Aisha
Right.
is the most visible, right? The rest of you are shapes of varying visibility, but Aisha is the one leading through the woods.
This is the poster right here.
And I think very quickly you get through the you get away from we see the hideout and its safety fade into the distance. When we see you again, you're very much in the woods, right? Big pine trees. Maybe there's a strangeness to this place that you could attribute either to the atmosphere of just being out in the woods alone with the dark coming on, or the presence of the plant, right, of the loop nearby. There's a faint kind of humming in the air. Something about this place is unsettling to the group of you, and I want to know what the scene is before we go to our next break. What is the thing that causes you? What's the ending of the scene? What's the thing that stops the let's investigate the woods? What's the mausoleum door here that makes you turn back? Because as long as you're in the woods, you're safe and you're on this little adventure. But the thing that will terminate this and go from being the like this is safe to like we should probably go.
There's a barbed wire fence, and then there's a hole through the middle of the barbed wire fence, and it's smoking.
Nice. Yeah. I like that. So I think maybe this is actually great. Maybe we discover this. The flashlight falls on this fence. We see the big chain link fence. We see the barbed wire above. In the distance, there's a dark kind of orange glow even through the woods as the power plant starts to take over for the sun in terms of ambient light.
Yeah.
And there's this rent hole in the fence, but the hole in it isn't facing in. You're not coming towards it. It's facing out.
Right.
And it's all torn open. And I think on the jagged edge of one of the places where the chains link up, the flashlight falls on a piece of maybe what you could see as like maybe you think it was moss at first, but then we realized as we get closer to it that it's this like greenish gray like fur that's been caught on the edge of the fence.
Oh, here, no, Adam. Can there be a sign on the fence that says no entry?
Of course.
Can it also say it in French? And then I
Oh yeah,
legally-
exactly.
No
Legally
intent.
obligated to say no entry in French.
it says no entry in French too.
Yeah. And so I love that. Yeah, the person who has to translate anyway. It says Fruit Loops. I know it says it on the, I know, but right there. Les loops des fruit. So we get the pan across, and the group of you kind of huddled around or close to Aisha as the flashlight falls on this bit of fur, and I think that's when we fade out. We'll go to
Awesome.
break.
People
So
should go
we'll-
listen to the song that Drummer Boy made for this, because that's what I'm hearing in my head right
Yeah.
now.
It's
Yeah.
killer.
If people haven't, I'm just gonna link it in the chat. It's really
Yeah.
fucking
Awesome.
good.
Cool. So we'll take a short break here, and we'll come back and we'll continue exploring the mysteries of Thunder Bay, Ontario. When we
Delicious.
get back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.